So, here's a question for you. Is the universe just playing on a loop, or is this moment, right now, a one-time only deal? It's a massive puzzle that has stumped thinkers for, well, millennia. Does time just march forward in a straight line, forever? Or is it more like a giant wheel destined to circle back on itself? It's a huge debate, one that pits ancient wisdom against modern physics. So let's figure it out.
Let's just dive right in with this absolute bombshell from the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He called it eternal recurrence. I mean, just imagine for a second a demon whispers this to you, that every single joy, every last pain, every single moment of your life will happen again and again exactly the same way, forever. Whoa. How would that change the way you live? It's a seriously heavy thought, and it forces us to ask, what even is time? But Nietzsche wasn't the only one wrestling with this incredible idea. Around the same time, another thinker, a French revolutionary of all people, was thinking about a similar but very, very different kind of repetition.
Yeah, so picture this. You've got Louis-Auguste Blanqui locked away in a prison fortress. He's looking up at the stars, but not for some kind of mystical escape. He's looking for duplicates. He actually found this weird sense of comfort in the idea that if the universe is infinite, then there have to be other Earths out there, and on them, other versions of us. For him, this wasn't just some daydream. It was a real source of hope that somewhere, on another planet, another Blanqui was walking free.
Okay, so this is where the two ideas really split. Blanqui was thinking about repetition across the massive expanse of space, so countless copies of our world all existing right now. Nietzsche, on the other hand, was all about repetition in time. He imagined our one universe dying and being reborn again and again, forcing us to relive the exact same life over and over.
And you have to understand, this wasn't just some mystical fantasy for them. Both of these guys were materialists, and their ideas were actually grounded in the physics of their time. Their logic was kind of simple. If you have a limited number of building blocks, particles, then if you have enough space or enough time, their arrangements are just bound to repeat. It's almost like a game of shuffling a deck of cards. Eventually, you're going to get the same order twice.
But what's really fascinating is that this idea of cycles wasn't just some 19th century fad. Actually, for most of human history, seeing time as a cycle was pretty much the default setting.
I mean, just look at this list. From the ancient Greeks in their great year to the incredible calendars of the Mayans, so many cultures across the world saw time as a wheel. And it totally makes sense when you think about it, right? They were living in tune with nature's repeating patterns, the seasons turning, the cycles of life and death, the sun rising and setting every single day. For them, history wasn't a story with a beginning and end, it was a rhythm. But then, a completely different idea started to take hold, and would end up dominating Western thought. Coming largely from the Abrahamic religions, we get this concept of linear time. History as a single, unique story, with a clear beginning, a middle full of one-of-a-kind events, and a final, definitive end. Suddenly, time wasn't a circle anymore. It was an arrow, shot from a bow and flying in only one direction.
So for centuries, you kind of had these two big ideas about time living side by side. But then, the Industrial Revolution kicked into high gear, and with it came a whole new understanding of energy that gave physics its own undeniable arrow of time.
Okay, the key concept here is something called entropy. And trust me, it's one of the most fundamental rules of our universe. Basically, it's a measure of disorder, or unusable energy. The second law of thermodynamics sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. In a closed system, things don't get tidier by themselves. Disorder, or entropy, is always on the rise.
Let's make this super simple. Just picture an ice cube in a cup of hot tea. That's a low entropy state. It's organized. You have a clear difference between the hot part and the cold part. But as the ice melts, the system gets more and more disordered. The temperatures start to even out, and eventually you're just left with lukewarm tea, a high entropy state where everything's all mixed up.
And here's the crucial part. This process only goes one way. You will never ever see that lukewarm tea spontaneously separate itself back into hot tea and a solid ice cube. No way. If you saw a video of that happening, you know instantly it was running backwards. That one-way street from order to disorder, that is the physical arrow of time.
So what works in a teacup, it turns out, also seems to work for the entire cosmos. Modern astronomy has found its own even bigger arrow of time.
It all started back in the 1920s, when we made the shocking discovery that our universe is expanding. Then, in the 60s, we found the cosmic microwave background, basically the faint afterglow from the Big Bang itself. And then, more recently, we found out the expansion is actually speeding up. Everything we see points to a universe that has a definite past and is moving toward a wide-open future.
Now, if you take entropy and this cosmic expansion and follow them all the way to their logical and kind of chilling conclusion, you get to something called heat death. We're talking trillions and trillions of years from now, a future where every star has burned out and the universe has expanded into this cold, dark, uniform soup where nothing interesting can ever happen again. A final, silent end.
So, is that it? Is that the final answer? Time is a line? Case closed? Well, maybe not. Some of the most brilliant physicists working today are exploring some wild ideas about how the cycle might just come back around.
And look, these are truly speculative, mind-bending theories. We're talking about ideas like our universe smashing into another one in a higher dimension to spark a new Big Bang, or theories where the very mathematics at the end of our universe somehow loops back around to become a new beginning. We don't have proof for any of this yet, but it goes to show that the ancient idea of a cosmic cycle, well, it isn't totally dead.
Okay, let's take a breath. We're left with this incredible tension, right? You've got the philosopher's loop, the historian's wheel, and the physicist's relentless arrow, all fighting to define what our reality actually is. So how do we make sense of it all? What's the final verdict based on what we know right now?
Well, as far as science can tell us today, Nietzsche's idea of eternal recurrence in time seems really, really unlikely. The laws of physics, especially entropy, give time that clear, one-way direction. But Blanqui's idea, repetition in an infinite space, you know what? That's still surprisingly plausible. If the universe really does go on forever, then pure statistics suggest that another world exactly like ours could be out there somewhere.
Which brings us right back to where we started, with that prisoner, Blanqui, staring up at the night sky. While our own time seems to flow in just one direction, it's a pretty humbling thought that across an infinite cosmos, every single possibility might be playing out, right now. And maybe, just maybe, on one of those countless other worlds, that hope he held on to in a cell is actually a reality.